me record of this. Okay, cool. So tonight's topic is the first day on snow. So we've all been off snow for some period of time, and kind of how we make the best out of our first day back on snow for the season. So I'm gonna do a little screen share that we can kind of hopefully help us guide a conversation. But with the crew right here, I think that we've all got something to share, and so I hope we can all share it. So please don't feel like you need to be a wallflower or just listen in. I'd love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinions, hear what you consider on your first day on snow for the season. And hopefully, the stuff we talk about helps others kind of prepare and be ready and have something to do their first day outside of like run and do a fence post or, each other. So here it goes. I'm going to do a quick screen share. Okay. So can you guys see this okay? This little worksheet right here just popped up.
Yep.
Everybody got it? Okay, cool, cool. Um, so right here, when I was thinking about what's important the first day of the season, I really thought like the three things to consider would be one, creating connection, right? Like really trying to be mindful about creating a connection between my board, my body, and the snow and my brain, right? Try to get all those things connected and kind of revved up again would be the kind of really important. That staying safe so I don't get hit early on in the season or I don't hit somebody else or something else because usually there's not a lot going on as far as space. And last thing, like having some like actual tangible drills that like if I do the drill, I can sort of see myself getting better, which would kind of keep me motivated on that first day when I might not really have the space to go very fast. So I'm going to kind of kick it off with a little bit about how our body or how we connect to snowboarding and skiing. So it's a combination of signals, to sort of what that is. And so in general, we get sensory feedback from what we're doing, either visually, like we can see ourselves approaching the tree or somebody else, um, auditorily, like we can hear sounds around us, so we can take information that way and feedback of our where we are in space. And then sensory, like kinesthetically, so how we feel it, right? So how we feel skiing and snowboarding. And in my general life, um, I pay attention to my hands a lot, right? So like I'm always like grabbing my computer or like doing whatever. I'm doing a lot of stuff with my hands. So I'm not necessarily when it comes to balance, even when I'm running, I'm not necessarily paying too much attention to what my feet are feeling. But it's snowboarding and skiing, we get feedback from the snow through our feet. And what those things are now, they're tiny little sensory receptors. So think about a bunch of little nerve endings coming together, and those are called proprioceptors. So proprioceptors. And understanding like this the so our body, what we do with the rest of our body, so all the way from our feet all the way up to the top of our head, is all based on the information that we get from our feet and we get from our ankles. And from that information we know how much to bend our knees, where to move our hips, where to move our head, and all those things to stay in balance. We know how fast we're going potentially. We know how hard the surface is underneath us. All those things, they're all that information comes from the bottom of our feet and our ankles. And so warming that up, so those proprioceptors, so I got a little image right here of all the little dots of where proprioceptors are. I don't know if this is accurate. I asked AI to generate it, so it could totally be false. But as far as I know, you have some big ones at your heels, you have a couple big ones underneath your toes, underneath the ball of your foot, and some pretty big ones in your ankles. Um, so before I move on to what proprioceptors are and how we warm them up, does anybody have anything to add there?
Um, the audio is maybe you want to turn off your video.
Sure.
Yeah, it's breaking a little bit.
Yeah, let's try that and we'll see if that improves.
Okay. I got to figure out how to turn off. There it is. Turn off my video. Is that better?
Yes, for now.
Yeah, seems like it.
Yes.
Just keep on
Okay.
talking.
Cool. All right, let me get back to my screen share here. All right, you guys are still looking at this thing, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
So
Yes, we can
sorry
see
about
it.
that. I'm tethering off my phone because I'm in Mammoth and that's what happens. So that's
That's
the
right.
reality of
Yeah.
this meeting. Um,
Yeah.
okay. So um so proprioceptors, I'll go back because I don't really know what you guys caught on that. But we experience and we react to snowboarding and skiing primarily through our feet. So we do definitely with our eyes, we see what's approaching, we see the conditions in front of us, but we feel and we adapt through our feet. And the way we adapt is through the thing that's actually sending signals are these little balls and nerve endings called proprioceptors. And so if we can connect our brain to those proprioceptors, like early on, we can avoid just hammering and making gross motor movements. So making huge movements with our body to try to make outcomes happen in our snowboard or our skis. And we can, immediately connect to making more fine motor movements and adapting to the real sensations that are coming up from the ground, i.e., how hard the snow is, where we're balanced over the snowboard, if we're how much pressures from pushing between our board to the ground. All those things are cues to help the rest of our joints that go up from our ankles, like our knees, hips, shoulders, head, everything align in a way that benefits balanced skiing and snowboarding. So is this making sense so far? Somebody tell me yes.
Yes.
This is good stuff,
Okay.
Josh.
Yeah. Never thought of it.
Really good stuff.
Yes.
Never thought of it that way.
So can you guys, does anybody have anything to add? I mean, I'm on proprioceptor. I'm going to move on, but like when it comes to, connecting your brain to how you feel skiing and snowboarding, does anybody have anything to add on to that? Like, because it happens in our feet and it happens in our ankles. That's how we experience this.
Josh, I think you did and I don't dole out false compliments. Like I think you did a great job of simplifying this. When I think about my skiing at the beginning of the year and in a class, I just think about things like slowly go faster and think about in a ski example, how far away from my legs can I get my skis and what does that feel like on my body, and or how much of an edge angle on day one can I get and how does that feel like in my body? And I understand proprioceptors, but I haven't been that disciplined about thinking about it myself and talking to others. And just the one thing that's resonated with me already, that if I take one thing away, is that we feel and adapt through our feet. And that is going to be a theme of mine all year long. So I love that concept. I really do. I think it's great.
That makes
I
me
wanna add
happy.
something.
Yeah.
Can I add? Yeah. So this is all personal experience and things that I do. So I don't wait for the season to start to make sure that my feet and my brain are aligned. For me, that's a ongoing thing, specifically through the summer and fall, because I don't want to wait till January to have all those feelings back. So I'd go and do like functional exercises. It's not weight lifting and go.
Yeah. Um, did you just blank out, CMAC, or are you still talking? Because I can't hear you.
To the gym, but it's doing fun. My ankles on snow. I just stopped. I don't know how much that came through.
I got most of it. Thank you. Yeah, I I try to do
And
as
that's what
much
I
as I
recommend to a student. I recommend
yeah.
students or co-skiers, like, don't hang it all up and don't think about and don't do anything. I mean, if you're crazy about getting better and being a better skier and having goals, you gotta do this. This is a nice way of explaining all of this, but telling people, don't hang it up for 6 months and then come back. Keep on doing
And,
it, whatever ankles, and all of those are connected.
and it's an awareness, right? It's like it's a big awareness. It's trying to it's being conscious of where you're feeling pressure, and if you are moving along the width of your ski, like being conscious of that pressure change from big toe to little toe, or on a snowboard, being conscious of that pressure change along the width of the foot and along the length of the foot, and trying to really connect. And within the ankles too. Within the ankles, that's how we can feel so much about the surface of the snow through our ankles and how much they flex and absorb. And it's micro movements, but just trying to connect.
I think we lost him,
And
or I lost myself.
did you lose me? Oh, I know, I get it. Okay, we're back. Back to sharing. Oh my gosh, my terrible internet. I feel bad for my internet. Um,
It's
okay,
Mammoth's fault.
it
I
is
think.
Mammoth's fault.
They only have 2 towers on that side. Mammoth's
Oh,
not
Tyrus is
taken.
back. He's back. Okay. I'll have to merge these two recordings. It's going to be ridiculous.
You should have brought your satellite dish that you travel with. What's
I
that thing
gave it to
called?
my mom. I gave it to my mom because they're out in the country. They didn't have any internet, so I gave my satellite dish to my parents just like literally this weekend. Okay, so we're back. So I'm going to move on, but before I do, Tong, I'm so sorry I didn't hear your question. I do want to hear it. I think I have a more stable connection right now, so can you please ask it again?
Sure. Yeah. I was asking, do you think is one way to strengthen those proprioceptor is to sometimes ride while looking uphill, so that we can rely less on the visual sensations, but like rely more on those proprioceptors?
Mm, I think that yes, because you're stopping another sense, but that's nothing I would suggest on your first day on snow early season. Just because of the traffic and everything around you. I think you could accomplish the same gains um, while being static. So closing your eyes and moving along the length of your board or your skis, moving side to side. I think you could create the same gains. Of course, with you're not feeling the ground move underneath you through your equipment, but I wouldn't suggest looking uphill and trying to ride downhill.
What
Opening,
strength
yeah.
what strengthens that can strengthen these kind of receptions is to do exercises with your socks off. You're on the ground, and you do toe lifts, heel. There's dozens of exercises you can do that helps you with balancing and feeling where you are in your feet. So get out of your socks, don't be in boots, and just walking. Like, I have a hard time after the ski season to walk on like gravel or something like that. Those are the things that really put you in touch with your feet and ankles.
I jump in there, Ski Mac and Josh.
What's that, Matt?
Can I add to what Ski Mac
Yeah,
just said?
please
Yeah.
do. Yeah, that's what this is.
So Tong, one of the few things that I wrote down when Josh talked about early season was the concept of mobility over strength. Strength is super important, but if you have to choose one or the other, as Ski Mac says, be aware of your body. So I do a lot of dry land training, and I do a lot of stuff in my house and running around at the gym. And I often think if I'm doing just a regular slow body squat or a jump lunge or jumping jacks or hopping on one foot from the floor up one stair or jump rope, I am consciously thinking and being aware where am I landing on my foot? Is it on the front of my foot, the ball of my foot? Is it in the center of my foot, the arch? Or is it on the heel? And I'm never necessarily saying one is good or bad, but in which place am I in the most balance for this particular exercise? So for instance, I feel that if I am jumping rope and I'm using the front of my foot for that particular exercise, I should be on the ball of my foot. If I am doing a slow, controlled body squat or a weight squat, I feel the most balanced if I have my pressure on the heel of my foot. One's not good, one's not bad. It's just making me aware of where I need to be on my foot for that particular exercise. And so as you begin to become aware of where your pressure is on your foot for an at-home exercise, that can absolutely translate to being on the hill on a snowboard or ski, because you're just more hyper aware of your foot. And that happens to work for me. So in summary, do whatever exercise you want at home. I think anything plyometric, meaning just like kind of jumping up and down. And don't just think about the burn in your quads. Just think about also, where is the pressure on my foot? Front, center, rear. It could be left and right, but that works for me.
I like that. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, good job.
Hey, JDB.
Yeah.
I
Makes
also
sense.
have, do we have time? Because I'd like to share something related to the question.
Yes,
I think-
please.
I think Tom actually mentioned about visual, right? I think I also did a bunch of dry lane training. So during my off season, I think I was asked to. I think I did that in Japan. So I was asked to do all the dry lane exercise, in front of a mirror, actually, because all the exercise is kind of related to coordinating your body parts. For example, in a certain time, you want to close your hips to simulate like a in run to a jump, something like that. So by doing that, I think not only you do it in the dry land. So I think a mirror actually helps you a lot to kind of visualize, are those things when you try to drive a certain body parts for preparing for the coming season. But the mirror in front of the mirror actually help you to confirm that, because sometimes I find myself I couldn't even do it right, like in the flat ground and in front of the mirror. My hips just keep poking to the way I don't want it to be. So I think I think the visual thing also helps you to, when you go to the actual slope, that you will have that same visual, like how this thing should happen. And so any kind of deficiency will enlarge when you're on the slope, right? So I think other than kinesthetic part, I think also visual part will also help you by using, either you want to use a video or a mirror will give you a lot of assistance on this part. Yep.
Yeah, Tim, I want to add video sometimes. I do, like with skiing, I can mimic these movements and I do like a half circle or something like that. And I put it on video because the mirror doesn't always catch everything, but then you can watch it and see how, what your mind thinks you're doing versus what your eyes actually see, and video doesn't lie. So yeah, video would be good.
I think there's a part two to that, Ski Mac, is I agreed, like mirror and video give you visual feedback. The most important thing to understand is when you're looking at yourself in the mirror and or you're watching yourself in video, do you understand what the most efficient body posture is compared to an inefficient body posture? Once you do understand that, and you can feel it at home or on video, then you have to be able to take that out onto the hill without video and say, now I know what my foot feels like. I should feel the rest of my body stacked and feel the ski or the board carving smoothly. So visual feedback with a mirror, take that onto the snow and say, am I taking this here and bringing it on the snow? And I think that's what's important, having that conscious recognition. Yep.
Yes, I totally agree. And then once you're on snow, again, the brain might fool you. Oh yeah, I'm stacked up really nicely. So you need somebody to at least take a picture of you in that position.
Cool. I like it. I like it. Tom, did we overwhelm you, or is that okay?
Yeah, thank you all for the answers. That I appreciate all the input. That's very helpful.
Awesome. So I'm going to move on to the next thing, and this one's really short. I just want to leave a little bit of time to get to a couple of tasks and kind of talk about what we can actually do as far as drills to sort of connect to our feet and to stay safe on day one. So first thing is, and we know this, but it's worth mentioning, right? Like the very first day of the season is usually pretty limited snow. So it's usually pretty limited as far as like space. And a lot of people are really excited to get out. So there's a lot of people on that space. And so when we think about high traffic runs, and a lot of us already know this, but I'm mentioning it for the video, and I'm just saying it so it was said. That when we go down a run, if it's high traffic and it's early season, there's lots of people and lots of obstacles potentially in the run and to the sides. Doing things where we would take up all that space not only puts us at risk, but it puts other people at risk, right? So the idea that early season, we try to do things that maintain a relatively tight line, right? That bring us going down fall line or help us use like a little bit of space versus a lot of space. I've seen a lot of people that are really, really great snowboarders and skiers go out early season and go to arc their biggest carves because it feels good, and they've been waiting all summer to do it. And when they close off that third carve, somebody comes from above, takes them out, and that's the end of their season. That's their season, was day one. And so I just want to take a moment to really like emphasize when we think about warming up in the beginning of the season, trying to do it in a way that's respectful of other people on the mountain. I don't know. Does anybody else have any stories about that can kind of support it?
Josh, I don't necessarily have any stories, but obviously safety was one of the words that I wrote down here.
Yeah.
And we call it the white ribbon of death. So if we have an early season where there's limited snow and there's, as Josh said, limited terrain, you just have to be hyper aware, as Josh said, that there's just many, many, many people on the hill. So ski slower, slowly ski faster. Like use that time at the beginning of the year. I know we're all chomping at the bit, but use that time to refine your skills at a slower speed. Because I'm sure that Josh and SkiMac will agree with me that the more we can refine our skills at a slower speed, then we can refine our skills at speed 5 and speed 6 and speed 7. But if we tried to go to speed 7 or 8 day one, our skills probably aren't going to be that refined. So just slow it down. That's all. And we've all seen the injuries increase over the years as there's been more skier traffic in California and all over the United States, so it's just that simple.
It's interesting on that too. I was really surprised on this one, or not surprised, but it was really interesting. So we were at where I'm at right now. I'm currently in Mammoth doing AASI fall training. So for my ed staff position here in the West, and they brought up some NSAA studies. And if you're not sure what NSAA is, it's the National Ski Area Association. And there was this really interesting correlation, is that participation in snow sports has gone up a lot over the last few years. And they can show that like across the board, small resorts, big resorts, all resorts, participation has risen, it's gained. So more people are going out, more days, and more people, period, are coming to the slopes. But beginner lesson attendance has gone down steadily in that same time frame. And whether people are, there's an argument that people are gathering information, from video tutorials or from friends or whatever, getting connected to their first few turns on the snow. But either way, a video or potentially a friend might not be as safety aware as an instructor would be when somebody's like learning their first few turns, right? And so I would say that there might be a correlation to like early season dangers as participation goes up and less people are taking beginner lessons. There might be a little bit more to be aware of there. And we thought it was pretty interesting here at training, so just wanted to share it. I thought it was interesting. So moving on, the last part I want to hit on this call is exercises that promote awareness and mobility. So just like Matt said, slow drills are essential for building fine motor awareness because they give your body time and space, not like distance space, but time meaning mental space to actually feel what each movement is supposed to do. So like by supposed to do means like I move this and this is how it affects the snowboard, or I feel this, now I move my foot this way and this is what happens to my body, right? This is what happens to balance. And so when you move slowly, your proprioceptors have a chance to register subtle shifts in balance. If we move really, really fast, we're not necessarily able to do that, right? So if like I'm just leaning over from one turn to the next and allowing my equipment to hook up, I might not actually have the ability to really like those minute proprioceptors to really register what's going on under my feet. So the slower I move, the more they're able to register. Because of that, those subtle shifts in balance, that allows us to adapt where we pressure, our body alignment, all that kind of good stuff. So when we start going faster, our brain and our body is more connected to be able to adapt to those change to what we feel more quickly, right? And so I highlighted this word. Matt, I'm basically just paraphrasing what you said, so I'm just saying it again, so we really just drive it home. But I did one word out here, and one word I decided to highlight was isolate. And this was something that Tim, before we got on the call, Tim was talking about. And so, Tim, I'm not going to talk about isolate. I want you to talk about isolate. So tell me kind of your take on isolation first few days of the season.
Okay, this is pretty much my approach. I kind of starting from bigger body parts, I kind of do usually I use a more of a flatter ground or terrain. Do some turns, and each run I will do a assessment on that body parts, starting from the bigger one, for example, hip, to the knees, to the ankles, shoulders, those kind of things, that making sure the range of movement or the command is still there, or if there's any deficiency compared to the one I remember the last time I've been riding, right? So, and then I'll move into some exercise to ease it up, or making sure, especially I think my major focus usually is the ankle, is actually the range or the command, is just because that's a smaller and weaker part of our body. Or sometimes it could be your glutes. That's more of an intensity and strength issue. So usually I will use a couple runs to do a self-assessment to isolate those body parts, which is related to snowboarding and your body control. Make sure it's back to the shape I wanted, instead of just directly go into a certain movement or exercise I want to do on snowboarding. I'll use a easier, more of a layback round, to do that. That's pretty much my approach for early season, at least the first 2 or 3 days of snowboarding.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. As I warm up my body, especially those first few days, I find that I deal with, as far as the feedback from the mountain, I do find that my body deals with it a little bit differently than as I've ridden more, right? So not only am I experiencing the sensations through my feet, but I'm also experiencing the pain of my ligaments in my feet stretching out as I'm re-engaging with this sport, right? And so taking a little bit of a slower roll to that, giving myself something to do, feels pretty good. And when I think of isolation, I literally I'll ride in a straight line with a dead flat snowboard and just rotate my shoulders to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, try to rotate my upper body autonomously or from my lower body and see if I can just isolate that. Then I'll align my whole body and I'll flex my ankles, only my ankles, from everything else just kind of being uniform. Like focus, just flex those, just extend those, just flex those, just extend those, and see if I can isolate that muscle group and that joint as much as I can. You can't totally isolate things because we're moving and we're trying not to fall over. So you can't totally do it, but putting focus on it, right? And I find by doing that, for one, it gives me something to do, which is fun early season when it's a strip of death. And two, it slows me down a little bit. And three, it connects my brain to my body. So I'm not just trying to slug over big gross motor movements that I remember from last year. And by gross motor movements means when your whole body moves at once. And so knees, hips, shoulders, ankles, everything move at once. And it's usually a pure, what we call a mature movement pattern. So it's something that like your brain has a really like solidified connection to. So if you think about like, gosh, what do they call this? I'm blanking on the word, but if you think about your brain having highways of information, right? Like you do something over and over enough, you've basically created a highway of like, brain does this, highway signals to body, body does executes. And if I can get into the season, not just relying on those highways, but rather relying or igniting the fine motor skills, I can really like be aware. I can create awareness, which is going to serve me well. I don't know. Does that okay?
What I liked about what Tim said, and you said self-awareness, and I think also to change the wording a little bit is self-assessment, which Tim clearly explained. Like we all, as skiers, riders, and or if any of us are instructors, impart upon the need for people on the snow to sometimes understand just two simple things. What is my goal for the board or the ski to do on the snow? And what is my body doing to affect that? And did I achieve that goal? In other words, we want video feedback. We want feedback from people that have been on the snow as skiers or snowboarders. But can we get to a point where we can self-assess and determine did we execute that goal? And if we did, why? And if we didn't, why? So Tim, I think that's spot on that you know you're trying to do that we all should, right? Self-awareness. We don't talk about that enough. Self-assessment.
Yes.
Self-assessment.
Well, cool. I want to jump into unless anybody has any questions, I just wanted to jump into a couple exercises that I thought were pretty good for sort of building that awareness and giving us a way to assess. So kind of a degree of measure, right? And so I picked up some pretty perfect demos here. And the first one I wanted to go into was a pivot slip. And I have a video of this on a skier and a snowboarder doing. So I'm just going to play a snowboarder first. So this is a pivot slip. Some of you guys recognize this dude. But I'm going to make the screen big and mute the audio. All right. Before I keep playing it, can everybody see that okay? Is that coming through okay?
Yes.
It was choppy, but you could see it for sure.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna let it play a little bit more, and then I'm gonna tell you some of the things I like about this video, but I'd love to hear some other people chime in on what they think about this task and why it might be a good task to warm up to and where it might be even measurable to. I think this, Tim, kind of what you were saying, I think that this task goes a little bit into kind of what you were talking about isolation, but All right. So I'm going to escape out of that. I'm going to go back to this right here. And let's hear it. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about a snowboard pivot slip? Anybody's thoughts? Yeah, Tim, I see you're unmuted, but I can't hear you.
Um, you mean the purpose of it or how it's going to benefit us? Is that the question?
Yeah, how this drill could benefit us early season. And I guess maybe I'll front load it before I just send you out there. So one of the things that I like about the drill is that it's measurable. So like it's measurable in the way, did your snowboard get all the way across the hill? Did you stay in a corridor? So like ideally the task, you're able to have your board go basically within a board's length. So the length of the board from nose to tail, have that strip going straight down the hill and the board basically stays in that corridor, right? So can you do that and
Yep.
not go across the hill?
Yep.
And I think, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just like you said, you can self-assess, right? Because the course or the movement, the pretty much the track of your slip, you can, if your pivot point is not, well, is drifting to a 1 foot or the other, you're pretty much the course will kind of drift towards the other way, right? So it's easy. You don't even need a video to know there's something not as ideal as you want, right?
Totally. Yeah. I don't know, Tyrus, do you have any reason why pivot slips you could add that why pivot slips might be a good thing early season to do or strive to do?
Yeah. And we think about the situations in which we want to really own a movement that creates upper lower body separation. So any terrain you're in where you're going to want to do or need to do short radius turns. So if you're at Kirkwood and you get yourself slotted in a very narrow couloir and you want to turn through it, you're going to want to have a mastery of that upper lower body separation movement pattern. Tight trees are similar. That's what I
Yeah,
would say.
totally agree.
And it tests all five, in your case, six fundamentals.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Both
so
things, yeah.
it's like one of those tasks that you do. Well, the reason why they have it in skiing in level 3, I think it's a level 3, is the pivot slip. Is if you can't perform this task, it will show in your skiing or riding. So it's a great all around way to warm up and get to see how well you are performing the fundamentals.
You
Yeah.
have, in order to do this efficiently, you have to have mastery of your rotary skills, of all 3 pressure skills in skiing, and of your edging skills. It's that simple. Like it you have to be able to use all of those. So that's what's awesome about it.
And I think early season too, like this isn't necessarily something I'm going to master right out of the gate. I'm not going to have the perfect pivot slip right out of the gate. But ideally, like it doesn't take up a lot of space. So ideally, I'm not traveling very fast down the mountain, nor am I taking up a lot of space from side to side. It's slow and the edge work has to be so precise. So I'm connecting to my feet because I'm really conscious on how much edge angle I'm adding. And on a snowboard and on skis, that pressure is different from foot to foot, and it's ever changing for me to accomplish this. So not only do I have the upper lower body separation, but I'm also really getting a lot of feedback, and I'm really paying attention to what I'm feeling through my feet because the edge angles are low and the pressure is changing from foot to foot constantly for me to be successful at this. And I think that that's one of the drills that it really develops that awareness through my feet to the rest of my body. I don't know. Anybody else to add?
Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
like to
I
add.
think go Tyus.
Yeah, thanks.
Go Tyrus. Yeah.
So I set up a lower body separation. But what you really see when someone does these pivot slips is that they're steering the board with their lower body, separate from their upper body. Hence, you create the separation. And I just wanted to highlight that it's that ability to steer the board with the lower body um, that that's important. That's what allows you in this sort of task to create that separation.
I think it's worth noting, especially considering the fact that we're all men here and we're less flexible. And ultimately, one could argue that a pivot slip, the goal is to create upper and lower body separation. But as Josh said, and we've all said, is that you have to have command of all the other skills, right? There has to be a little bit of an up and weighting to release the edge, and you have to use, pressure skills throughout the board. But where I'm going with this from us being men is that we do not have the flexibility that women do. And so if our ultimate goal was to turn the board 180 degrees or the skis 180 degrees, we must, during the season and all the time, think about these stretching mobility movements at home, like with our backs on the ground and doing windshield wipers and creating that mobility. Because at least at my age, I know that when I am throughout the season doing those stretching mobility, twisting the femurs independent of the upper and lower body at home, I am a much better and more efficient skier. If I neglect those for a week, 2 weeks, my skiing goes down to here. So as we get older, it's so important for those stretching mobility if we want to continue to ski at a higher level.
I wish I was more disciplined with stretching. I bought a membership to the Stretch Zone or whatever where they stretch you out. I haven't used it very much. But I've definitely
It gets worse every year, Josh, trust me.
Sweet. Good to hear. Thanks. So I picked another exercise right here, and I actually added a tutorial to it, and this is just for anybody who needs it, an ollie tutorial. And I couldn't find a video on skiing that kind of did the same thing, so I might lean on my skiers here to maybe direct me to a little bit better media. So CMAC, Matt, I'm sorry, I don't have a ski version, but this is just ollies, right? And so just going to go into some snowboard ollies, and this is just at Mount Hood. It's just a quick clip. And this is something that I find when I warm up for the season, doing ollies in a straight line is really important to me in warming up, right? Warming up my body, warming up what I'm capable of, and it's measurable. Like the higher I ollie and the cleaner I land, like do I land on my heel side? Do I land on my toe side? Do I land on a flat board? Does my line change? All those things like are measurable, and I can make it better without taking up a lot of space and without going very fast, because I can stop in between these ollies if I want. So here's what ollies in a straight line look like. Now, granted, I was going pretty fast there. I'll totally say yes, I was going pretty fast there, but I could have stopped between them. Play it one more time, and then I'm just going to escape out of this one or pause it. I'm going to pause it right there. That's fun. So I guess I want to open it up to maybe Frank or Tong. Like just thinking about it, just speaking to it, what do you guys think would be important, or why would ollies in a straight line be a good way to warm up those first couple of days on snow? Why would that be important? Anybody?
I guess it's probably you need to use your core and the entire body.
Yeah, so you're using your entire body and you're trying to access like the flex of your board, right? And specific flex points in your board. Like you don't want to necessarily, it's not an ollie if you jump off of 2 feet, right? It's an ollie if you come off the tail. Tong, anything you would add to it?
I think it's an exercise that blends in um, a couple of fundamentals like pressure change and um, but no tilting, but and also it requires some um, like it's not like a static movement. It requires some strength to achieve it.
Yeah, yeah. And I like what you said about strength. Like it does require some strength to achieve it. And so as you're literally warming up the body, right? Without having to you're making your muscles tired or you're stretching their ability. And I think that's
Yeah,
important.
you can activate your whole body muscle.
Cool. Anybody else? So like Tim, Tyrus, CMAC, Matt,
Um,
anything else you guys would add?
I think this straight line thing is very helpful to. I think I also do this to myself is to first of all keep your body within the width of the board, and also to be able to maintain the actual straight line. Actually, your ankle control on each, no matter you're doing toe side or heel side, to add a little bit of differential, right? Introduce a little bit of twist will be able to do that, but that's a very kind of difficult. For me, it's not that easy control. Usually, I will take me a couple runs to kind of get it back to hold that straight line, and also your body position, right? When you try to initiate that ollie, you want to also keep your body in the neutral and center location to initiate that using a lower body to shift the pressure to do that tail pop, right? So
Totally.
yep.
I think it has some similarities with our pivot slip too, right? So our pivot slip, as Tyrus said, our pivot slip was directed by the lower body. That's what created the separation, right? And if you watch an ollie, or if you develop a efficient, for lack of a better word, efficient ollie, that efficient ollie, there is separation between the upper and lower body, and a lot of that ollie is driven or powered by the lower body, and it's controlled by the sensations that we feel through our feet. So I don't know, Tyrus, anything you want to add to ollies?
We make a lot out of the ability to move the legs independently when we're snowboarding, and the ollie demands that. Additionally, it's
Yeah.
foundational to tons of freestyle maneuvers, so important all around.
It's also foundational to a sick powder slash. Cool. So if anybody wants it, it's right here on the worksheet. This is a tutorial to ollies, and when I post this later, so if you're watching this after the fact and you're not currently on the Zoom call, all these things will be available somehow to you. I'll make sure that they get out there. So there's a Zoom link to a video. It's this one. I'll show it real quick. Not the whole video, just a quick clip from it. This is my buddy Doug from probably 10 years ago doing some ollie stuff, but it's a great video on how to ollie. If you need some info on it. And then the last thing I picked for videos here was I picked what a really cool thing that Tim mentioned was Tim still loves to carve. So Tim loves to carve, but what kind of carves can we do to like ignite, get excited about carves, feel the shape of our board without putting us at risk of slamming into somebody else? And it's cool because it's measurable. So it's still measurable. Am I carving? Am I not carving? All those things. And so I'm just going to play the video, Tim, and then it's your floor. And maybe there's also a ski, something like this that we can talk about too. So these are titled Open Short Radius Carves.
What makes it open?
So open versus closed. So closed would be the board points across the hill. So the turn finishes pointing across the hill. and open means it never points across the hill.
Okay.
Cool. That's interesting. That's not like a term. Yeah.
It might
Here's a
be a
slow
little
mo.
different from ski
Yeah.
side, and they define open and close.
I've got to dive more into that for myself, my own knowledge. Okay, so Tim, I don't know if this is the way you do short radius carves, but this is just the video I found. But please chime in. Why is this good for early season?
So this is actually for me the most common self-assessment exercise I use for myself, switch and for regular riding. It's usually I will. This is the video you're showing is very dynamic. Usually I will not start from this. I'll try to do a more static one, to just only use a little bit of your ankle, with like an edge row, like on a
Yeah.
very, very flat ground. And then if actually it works well, I'll start, generally add a little bit of range, intensity, and then push out a
Wait,
little
hold
bit.
on. So for people that don't know what you mean by range and intensity, I do know what you mean, but for people who don't know what you mean, what do you mean by range and intensity?
That means you kind of, you're stacking your body parts and muscle into the turn, with the same kind of, approach, or the turn shape shouldn't change. You still want a more open, carving turn, but I'll start from the ankle row and starting maybe, if that works well, I'll start pushing into using a bit of knees, and then your hamstring will come in. Then in the end, you will have a little bit of a retractable, open carve turns. And this is usually my warm up run for everyday kind of snowboarding, making sure my ankle and then other body parts is working. And this is very safe because you're visual most of the time. For yourself, you can see what's in front of you. There's very few, blind spot. And also because usually I choose a very kind of flatter terrain, so people will not be able to go too fast on it. Yeah. And
Cool.
also, yep.
I like what you said there. So one of the things that you said that really resonated with me, Tim, was the way that you talked about building from the ankles up, right? So this is kind of the finished product that we're watching here. But you talked about building, okay, I'm going to start with my ankles and just get the carve done, just focusing on the articulation through my ankles to move from heel side to toe side, back and forth, and allow my, ride the edges of my snowboard, release, ride the edge of my snowboard. And then from there, you build up. Then you might add a little bit more knees and hips to it. And then that range of what you add through extension and retraction of the legs will increase gradually. But it all starts from the ankles and you start to work your way up the body. And I thought that to me is a pretty balanced and a pretty thoughtful approach to body awareness at the beginning of the day. I love it.
And also switch. This is important. You do it on switch as well. For me, usually everything's working, and when you do switch, you'll find something, it's not clicking. I'll find, okay, I skipped a little bit, or or your body position is not in the position you want it. Then I'll go to a flatter ground and then adjust it and come back. So it's I think it's very kind of useful, at least for myself. It's a very good utility tool.
Well, I am 100% in agreement, and I'm gonna with that agreement, we're right at 7:04, so we hit our hour, and I don't want to take up anybody's more's time than we want to. So I do want to say thank you, and I want to open it up to any last thoughts, comments, questions about what we covered tonight. If anybody has anything, this is the moment. Let me know. Cool. I think we're Gucci then. So Matt, Tyrus, CMAC, Tong, Tim, and it looks like Frank already left the call, but I'm also going to say thank you to Frank for attending. Thank you guys so much. I hope you're all thoughtful about your first day on snow. My first day for the winter season is going to be 2 days from now, so I'm pretty excited. I'm
Go
going to be
big.
standing in line trying to get a free Mammoth beanie.
Opening day.
Go big.
But see
Go
you, Mac.
big.
I'm stoked to see you on another Strip of Death, and I hope you have fun in Japan. Matt, I'll see you in Tahoe. Tyrus, I'll see you at a workshop here soon. I'm sure of it. And Tong, I can't wait to see you soon. I know it's going to happen. I don't know when, but I know it will.
Probably Tahoe.
Probably Tahoe. And Tim, I'll see you in Tahoe as well. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank
Bye,
you so
guys.
much.
Thanks, guys.
Sure.
Good night.
you.
Good night. Bye.
Thank you.